Alright, hello and welcome to part 3 of the Solo Eidolon Hunting Guide, the complete saga. Part 3. This time we're going to get into how to actually capture the Eidolon Teralyst. Yeah, so let's get started. Let's see, where is the Eidolon? Okay, I missed it. Alright, whatever. Yeah, so first of all we need... Yeah, so like the basics of it, how you do it is it's not that complicated. Basically, you do the same thing, you take out all the limbs, and then at the end, when you are going to take out the main body, you need to set up something called Eidolon lures properly, and when you've done that, you take the final, like you damage it, do the final damage to it, and take it out, and at that point it will result in a capture instead of a kill, basically. So yeah, so why would we do this? Well, the reason for that is that simply better loot. I mean, we don't really care what happens to the Eidolons. I mean, we slaughter Grenier like it's, animals. So, like, we don't really care about that. The only thing we are here for is the loot. So, actual mercenaries. Anyway. So, basically, that's that. So, the rest of this video is literally just gonna be how to set that up. Otherwise, you already know the rest of how to take out the Eidolon. So like I said, we need a device called Eidolon lures. Now, these Eidolon lures, what they are is that, at least lore-wise, is a type of device made by the Grenier to try to combat the Eidolons. Because Eidolons were large and powerful and kind of difficult to deal with as a kind of like supernatural beings, and the Grenier couldn't deal with them, so they engineered something to try to like combat them or whatever, since guns don't really work that well. So yeah, basically that's what they are, and that's the reason you find them in Grenier camps. There are a bunch of Grenier camps all over the plains. Won't go into all and show all of them. There are some that have 2 lures in them. Again, not gonna point it out in this video, might go just make a video where I show you all of the spots. Anyway, here is one camp which I use for the first lure I usually get. And in this camp, when I come close here, the Grenier unit spawn, and also more importantly, the lure spawns. So, we want to basically have this lure, take this lure, bring it with us, and have it help us combat the Eidolon. In its state, it is actually, if I mark it, you can see that it's actually an enemy, and it's just gonna stay there and not do what we want and not be helpful. So what we need to do is take control of it. Now, the way we do that is, first of all, and then we need to charge it also, we'll get into that in just a sec, but what we want to do is first damage it. See, its health bar disappears, and then we go up to it. It says the interact button there, and we want to hack it, so we press the interact button, we hack it, and now we're taking control of it. You see this yellow marker, and if we move around, it will follow us around, and now we are a little assistant for the rest of this mission, for instance. Yeah. Now, we need to actually charge this thing, because as it is, it's not going to do any good. It's just going to mess with these Vombalus. It's not actually going to like attach to the Eidolon and like help us capture it or help us make it stay in place. It doesn't teleport. So what we want to do is, again, charge it. Now, the way we charge this thing is we need these Vombalus. So these aren't actually just annoying, these are actually have a use. Each of these Vombalus have 1 charge. You can technically get 2 charges with them, or from them, by using Ivara, because you can do the loot thing, where you loot an enemy and you get the loot, and then you also kill it and like get the other charge. But I won't get into that now, since, I mean, it's pretty simple to do, and if you know how to use Ivara, you know how to, and more importantly, like, you don't use Ivara, because Ivara kind of sucks, for Eidolon hunting. She can't increase... doesn't help with, she's slow and awkward and doesn't really like having a special other perk. It's only for charging lures, really. So that's why no one uses her, and that's why it's not even relevant. So just assume to be without it. So basically we need 3 chargers. Each lure has 3 antennas. One, whoops, has 3 antennas. 1, 2, 3. All of these will start glowing when we actually charge it. So yeah, there are 2 ways to charge it. Either the first way is to just break the physical part, like so. And now you saw that if we came in this like void form, or like the void part of it was left, and then when it was in range and like the lure also focused on that one and like attached to it, you know, it basically sucked it in and got a charge. And as you can see, this one of the 3 antennas now has this glow, or is like electrified, and it's like charged. So then we need 2 more. The other way then to actually get a charge is to like kill the physical part, and then take out this like void part. Then it drops this thing, this little orb here, and we get this charge. We start glowing blue, and then we can walk up to the lure and put in a charge. Now you see we got another charge here, so we have 2 charges. So then we only need 1 more, like so. And now you see it glows blue and has this little blue marker on top of it. And you can see all of these 3 little antennas are like electrified. And now it is active, and it will actually do us like good. So we're active, but it actually has, I don't know what to say, like its power or whatever to actually do something. So yeah. Now we need 2 lures. So I grabbed another one here for the Teralyst. The other ones require 3 each. I will get into that later, but the important part is just that you need 1 for each 2 limbs. The Teralyst has 4 limbs, so therefore you need 2 times 2, which is 4 lures, and the other ones have, you know, what am I saying? Yeah, 6 limbs, and then you need like 6 lures. What am I saying? 6 limbs, so therefore you need 3 lures. So yeah, that's kind of the logic behind how many you need. Just trying to find the Eidolon there. So yeah, that's basically the logic of it. Right, so now I'm just gonna take out all the limbs. Like I said, the only important part you need to worry about is what happens at the end when we actually are supposed to like capture it. So this part is not really, I'll only show you, just damage it. Don't worry about the amount of damage I do for now, I will get into that later. This is just again going over the basics of how to actually capture it. As you can see, I haven't charged the other lure. I just have this one here so it doesn't teleport. The reason for that is that it's quite easy, and I'm not going to get into how to get Wombalist elsewhere. I mean, you can technically just run around until you find them. Otherwise, you can just take out the limbs first, and then you can get really easy. You see under here, it spawns. So it's really easy to get bombs. Like this. You get 4 when it off the last limb break. When it falls down and lays on the down ground like this, and also when it stands up, get another 4, which totals in 8. So that's actually all the Wombalists you need, because you get 8 charges and you only need 6. So yeah, it's very convenient, and you don't actually need to be able to know how to find them elsewhere, which is why I don't show it, right? The Wombalist under always spawn, and I mean always in solo if you're close enough. Besides all the other places it spawns. So it's very reliable. In squads, they don't spawn that reliably. Sometimes they spawn, sometimes they don't. It depends on a few factors. I won't get into that now since this is a solo guide. But yeah. So it's very reliable. So that's why you can rely on it. I don't think there's anything else. Right. So you have your 2 lures charged. You see that they are attached with 2 like strings each or whatever. These things, I don't even know what these are supposed to be. Anyway. Point being, they are attached, and that means that we are ready to go. So you see that they attach each limb. So they have 2 things they can attach with, and they fit 2 limbs each. So since it has 4 limbs, the Teralyst, you need a total of 2 lures. So yeah, just make sure they are arranged when you take the cap shot, then you take your aim and you take it out like before. And makes a sound, and you see now this animation is different. Before it just fell to the ground, now it goes up into the air and they are attached, and then it like goes down into the ground. So it's a different animation, so it's very clear to like see when you actually do kill or when you do a capture. Also when you do a kill, you know, the loot, remember, is right under the Eidolon and spawns right away. When you do a capture, it takes a little bit, and then it pops out of the lure. One of the lures. So it's very easy to see the difference. So you can know whether you actually successfully made a capture or whether if you just kill it. By the way, just a side note about the loot. So the loot actually comes out of the first lure that is attached. So that's a good way to know, and the other ones will explode later. Same goes for the other Eidolons. It has nothing to do with where they attach or anything. It has only to do with in the order in which the lures actually attach. If you go out of range and then back in range again, it's after you went out and in of range, like the lures, and then the lures that like attach first. Then that's like the last time you did that, and the lure that like attached first last time. Without going out of range, like that's the lure that will actually carry the loot. That isn't necessarily too important for now, but just a little side note. It can be good to know, because it isn't random which lure actually has the loot. It actually is like a reason behind it. So yeah, that's it for this video. Hopefully this was clear enough, that I explained it well, and that you understood everything. If there's something that was unclear with doing a capture, then let me know in the comments. Just make sure you have watched the previous videos so you get everything that has to do with this. Really, you only need to watch like part 2. The part 1 is just a bit of an introduction, isn't that like that important, but yeah. The other one that you watch that one first, so you get everything that has to do with taking out the Eidolon, you're not so yeah, so for this series, as this continues, everything will build on what I've previously done, so please watch through the previous videos first before you ask questions. Otherwise, feel free to ask, and I will answer the questions in the comments, and I may even remake this video just to make sure it is very clear and like explanatory, so because again, the point is that anyone should be able to follow along with this. Alright, see you in the next video, where I will go over how to do a full Eidolon. Bye for now.